Readers and listeners, today I would like to share with you my new story in English, Chances Not Problems. It's about us, the people, our challenges, our problems, our chances that we get, that we lose sometimes, so our daily life. And I started my story with a quotation of Jim Rohn: "Your life doesn't get better by chance, it gets better by change." Okay, let's start. Usually we tend to avoid the word problem in our life. It seems to be connected with something unpleasant, undesirable, and painful. A problem is like an obscure black cloud in the clear blue sky. Nobody in a lucid mind would like to spoil that beautiful heaven-like picture with such a mean spot in it. The same is with problems. What for do we have them? Why do they intervene in our lives so easily and without any visible reason or necessity? How to get rid of them with the minimum losses, and the sooner the better? I'm sure every person has posed at least one of these questions to himself at this or that period of life, wondering about the mysteries of the world. They say everything is in harmony and in balance. Everything is needed and aimed at the good. We need creative power to build, construct, and invent new things, both tangible and intangible. But from time to time we also require destructive force to clear out the space for new ideas when the previous ones are not relevant anymore and do not benefit to the whole great mosaic of the universe. Every living creature, either human, an animal, a bird, an insect, a tree, a plant, a flower, or even a grass blade, has his or her own purpose to fulfill, together with the unique way of doing that important task. Nothing is nonsense. Behind each thought stays our previous background. Behind each word lies a complex set of our idea, emotions, and impressions gathered early, and behind each deed lays an enormous number of interrelated phenomena, which very often are too complicated to understand to an individual. The world always develops in harmony. The ebb is followed by a flood. After the night comes the day. The winter sleep can't last forever, and the spring awakens the nature with its life-giving sunshine and warmth. If that's the case, maybe the problem is not the problem at all, but the essential part of the harmonious development necessary to each of us? Perhaps problems, as we tend to call them, just show us that the previous model of our behavior, way of life, or activity is outdated, not valid anymore, and needs to be replaced by new ideas. Fresh emotions, curious events, and interesting people, which would perfectly fit into the overall world picture as well as would benefit our personal life and self-realization. And then the former problem transforms into the real chance to enrich our individual life, to bring it to a new quality level, and finally to make a positive contribution to ourselves, the environment, the people, the material wealth, and the structural and spiritual heritage. Of course, sometimes, or I would say rather often, we have to wait for a long while until we can comprehend the final purpose of the change that might appear to us not pleasant and not nice at all. However, every time you look back, every year, 5 years or 10 years, you're gonna see each event had served directly or indirectly to enable you to end up on the next, the further, and the better step. Indeed, the process is usually painful and requires a lot of power and mental courage, but it's worth it. For sure, nobody would say, "Oh, buddy, I love changes very much. I love problems." It is within our nature to strive for safety and certainty, even if the conditions are not really enjoyable. Still, there are many people who prefer to live in an ordinary life they highly dislike, with which they completely bored. However, they bear the burden as long as it is tolerable, because non-acting, non-changing means stability and clearness about their past, present, and future, although only in the imagination. Even so, earlier or later, the person understands it is time to make a step further into scary and unknown. In fact, it will be his blessing and shift for the better life. However, nobody is born a clever dick. We all have to get our unique experiences and to gather all sorts of emotions to learn what is right and wrong, true and false. And problems are like steps on our individual endless stairway. You pass one, and as soon as you have both feet on the floor, you face already a new challenge, since problems are nothing but challenges, chances and presents wrapped into many layers of package. As soon as you understand that you are not afraid of the future, with its uncertain foggy horizons, you start enjoying your present, you gain a better overall vision and start creating the world around you, never stopping but always moving ahead in a mute amazement, thrill of joy, and genuine awe of how beautiful and perfect every second, minute, hour, day, and year unfolding to you, step by step, brick by brick. We get new challenges only at the moment when we are already prepared for them, both physically and mentally. Nobody is an exclusion from this rule, neither am I. My childhood happened to be in the turbulent 90s, with a lack, or better to say absence, of safety, security, financial and economic stability, and spiritual shelter. Everything was in a mess. People didn't understand where to go, how to survive, and what to do with their lives at all. Those were obscure days for Russia and its folk. For adults, that was an extremely hard period to come through, and for many children of 90s, that time meant losing their childhood. They had to mature and be a responsibility already at the age of 7, 10, and forget about tenderness and carelessness of the normal childhood, to learn that one could rely only on himself, and to grow up into the atmosphere in which no human values, no self-enrichment, no hope for the better future existed anymore. The years have passed, the situation in Russia has changed, but that strive for certainty, love and understanding who you are in this world have remained forever in the hearts of almost all those former children, including me as well. At the age of 24, I had a good paid interest in Europe in the field of foreign languages and international communications. Wasn't committed to relations with Ivan, who in a year would become my husband. Had a lot of hobbies and enjoyed life in all possible aspects. Ivan and I decided to live together after half a year of a rose and candy stage. At that time I was living with my parents, whereas Ivan had initially come to Yekaterinburg from Pervouralsk, a nice town of Sverdlovsk Oblast, and was renting a flat together with his friends. Thus we decided to follow his path and to find a cozy one-room apartment fitting both of us. Even in those times, in 2009 and 2010, the cost of a flat was incredible, and the interest rate at the majority of the banks providing mortgage loans meant to fall into volunteer mortgage slavery for at least the next 15-20 years if you didn't have rich relatives behind you, as in our case. Ivan and I earned good money, spent a lot of entertainment, clothes, gadgets, and traveling. We were in paradise by that lightheartedness, cruelly stolen from our childhood. I even didn't know how much a simple mayonnaise cost in a shop. I just bought everything I needed, was delighted by fashion brands, and could barely imagine my life without going abroad twice a year. We were completely satisfied with us and our life. The only issue was the rental flat. In the first one we lived for almost a year. Then the owners decided to sell it. In addition, the flat itself was located too far from our jobs. Therefore, we moved. After the first flat, the second one, in which we spent less than 2 months, since the old lady, the proprietor of the apartment, all of a sudden decided to lodge her recently divorced daughter with a small child there. That surprise was revealed to us just 2 weeks before our marriage, and we had to leave the apartment in a rush in 2-3 days. In the third flat, there were 2 owners, a middle-aged man and his mother, looking very intelligent and educated, and assuring us we could live in that flat for the rest of our lives, as it was always intended for rent. However, as the old well-known proverb says, man proposes, but God disposes. We had been living there just since 6 months when the owner's former wife appeared on the scene, like a bolt from the blue, claiming to have her rights on that flat. Thus, again, we had no other options but to move. And to tell the truth, it is funny and pleasant to relocate to your new home only for the first time. When it is your new experience, you are flushed with joy of the upcoming home finishing and furnishing, and don't have yet too many belongings to load and unload, to pack and unpack, to collect and set up again. Those were all signs and hints to think about our own home. Moreover, the bad thing about apartments for rent is that you are not allowed to arrange the space according to your taste and preferences. Never a rented flat would become your cozy home, since some owners place their own furniture, some don't want to see any changes in decorations, even if it is time to hang new wallpapers or refresh a 30-year-old grandmother carpet in the living room. And of course, no one would let you do any reconstruction or reconfiguration work within their territory, and not by reason of their bad character or ignorance. They merely have goals which are different from yours. And as soon as you start to arrange your shelter the way you like, some unexpected events break on, and you have to leave post-haste your beloved home fortress, in which you have put out your energy and soul. That unpleasant feeling of uncertainty and necessity to be ready to relocate at any time accompanies every inhabitant of the rental dwelling. Surely sometimes you meet such happy couples who live in a rented accommodation for years. However, in our permanently changing environment, they're most likely to be deemed as exceptions out of the rules, while the others must stick to that invisible common practice. Finally, I'm extremely passionate about dogs. Since my early childhood, I have had dogs. At the time Ivan and I started living together, I also had a nice Pekingese dog called Daisy, who I unfortunately had to leave on hands of my parents. It's common for this breed to snort heavily, and if you cannot get over to that dog's feature, then the dog would be no joy, but a sticking point. The same applied to Ivan. He honestly tried to get used to strong Daisy's snorting, trying to make his best, but nothing helped. He hardly withstood that interfering noise at night, and woke up every morning in a bad mood and with a glassy look. Thus, after a week of the household of 3, Daisy had returned to my parents' home. Moreover, our owners didn't actually permit to have animals on their premises. For me, such state of things was unbearable. I couldn't imagine my life without a dog. With all my heart, I wished to adopt a pretty small puppy. My dream was a Pomeranian. In such a manner, various factors were coming together, pointing out it was time to make a revision of the easy-going way of our lives and to make a critical decision about taking a mortgage loan and buying our own dwelling. That meant the reappraisal of our values and priorities for the next 20 years, because we planned to take a loan for that long period. At first, the idea came one ordinary evening soon after our marriage as a simple reflection about being tired of all those endless relocations. We just touched the topic a bit, but from that moment on, Ivan and I regularly turned to one and the same conversation subject, bringing more details and conviction in necessity and positive aspects of purchasing our own apartment. Step by step, our minds were on the turn. Both of us clearly understood that with the loan we would inevitably need to review our lifestyles and priorities. But as Rome wasn't built in one day, so our vision was changing gradually. The moment of truth came when at Euromash Works, in which Ivan was working as an engineer at the time, the management gave the chance to the employees to take a mortgage loan at a reduced interest rate of 10.5%. That sounded like a miracle. We immediately resigned to make use of the chance and buy our own flat. Since then, all our sufferings with our part-time homes have been converted into the perfect preparatory stage necessary for both of us to decide finally for an own space and homely home belonging only to two of us. In addition, just a week or two before my 26th birthday, I occasionally read an announcement in some newspaper saying one lady was promptly selling Pomeranian puppies, and in that context much cheaper. That meant affordable for me. I immediately called the woman and agreed upon the puppy, although we were still living in our third rental flat, which owners were critically against any dogs or cats at their home. Our deal with apartment purchase was already in progress, and I knew we would move in a couple of weeks. Well, I bought Maya, my beloved dog, true friend, and small sister, as I call her now, and brought her to our temporary housing, diligently hiding from the flat's owner every time he came to get the monthly rental payment, to check the apartment state and take the keys while we were collecting our stuff and departing at last. The process of Maya's hiding from our last landlord is itself worth a couple of remarks, since it was always a creative task not to reveal the puppy's presence in the rental flat. In general, she is a friendly and curious dog, not biting anyone, but every time bellying when someone new reaches her territory. The same applied to our landlord. When he first arrived to this monthly rent payment after I had bought Maya, needless to say, she began to bellow and to produce a strange puffing noise. In a one-room flat, I decided to place Maya in the bathroom and innocently said, "Oh, don't worry. These are the tubes with cold and hot water. They check the pressure and all sort of things like." Next time, I invented another idea. The isolation between flats is not very good, and our neighbors who live one level higher have recently come with an idea to learn the art of singing, but they are only at the beginning of this long musical path. Actually, I and Van have already got used to that. Just don't pay attention. That's a simple temporary inconvenience. The third time to conceal my existence and presence was the most complicated, since we were in the process of moving, including cleaning everything, gathering our stuff, packing and loading our belongings into the minivan. In fact, that day I failed my mission of Maya's hiding, and the landlord finally saw her on the staircase of the building. But we were already out, and I said, "Look, I've just bought her today in the morning, and she sits in a big box serving her at home. So you have nothing to worry about. She cannot reach and scratch and destroy anything in the rooms. Just look at her. She's so nice." And the landlord could not stop but watching and smiling at mine. In fact, all puppies are pretty and yummy. All in all, varieties of fortune with temporary dwelling gave us the chance to go further. On the one hand, we began to live in our own apartment, decorating it as we like, and creating our personal homely home, doing whatever we wanted, and having finally fulfilled my dream about a Pomeranian puppy. On the other, the frequent wandering between rental flats, with the subsequent purchase of our own piece of land, helped us review our existing values and preferences, showing us it was time for changes and further move on. Of course, from that moment on, I knew the price of one and the same mayonnaise in various supermarkets. Our lifestyle became more modest in terms of consumption of material goods, but we did not save on those things that really mattered. But rain or shine, We tried to find money for education, traveling, sport activities, and cultural events, such as going to the opera, ballet, or music concerts. We mainly stopped buying expensive brand clothes and products of beauty industry, junk food, and ready-to-cook products, instead spending more time together in the kitchen and cooking delicious dishes out of simply healthy ingredients. The problems transformed our vision and gave us a drive for further development. By the time we start to understand that everything happens for the best, for our mutual welfare and prosperity, in truth, we don't always need all those things we strive for so enthusiastically and selflessly. However, we always get things, events, and people in our life we really need for our personal enrichment at that particular moment. Life is never one-sided. On the contrary, the more you live, the more flexibility you gain, and the better you navigate your own life shape. You learn to move smoothly, enjoy the bright present, and take diverse changes as one of the most interesting and captivating adventures in the course of your life journey. And a short poem. I would like the sun to shine through days and nights without restful time, since gloom is death and light is life. I would enjoy the clear sky and play with splashes of sunlight, forever warm, no cold, no frost, just endless fluorescence and growth. But would the beauty of the sky be as delightful as it was back at the time when there were hurricanes and storms, when foggy days took up the reins? Life means the changes of all kinds. Without night, no day. Without gloom, no light. We need to pulse the truth and false, to see right values and enjoy the splendor of the universe. That's it. Thank you very much for your attention. Yours, Olga Pazdnikova. And you may always find my stories at my internet site page in Contact. Thank you very much. See you very soon.